Hello, welcome back to the channel. Now today I'm going to do a little bit of a topic that's always debated, and that is LOFT better than tech? Hi, I'm Lee Whitaker. I'm down here at the Ashbury in Devon, and today I'm going to do a bit of a comparison. So there's always that age-old debate about stronger lofted irons. So I have got in my hand the big Bertha iron, and this club is 29 degrees as a 7 iron. I've also got in my hand the Orca CTI iron. This is a 7 iron, but this one is 34 degrees of loft. This one has no tech really. It's a forged head, it has low weighting and around the perimeter to aid launch, but this is 34 degrees. So this is the iron that's saying loft is better than stronger lofted irons with tech. The Big Bertha, however, is saying that it is going to give you faster ball speeds with the AI face. It has got a tungsten energy core, it's got microspheres, it's got Big Bertha soul, it's got everything that the marketeers shout at you to say it's going to aid ball launch. So is this any better than a 34 degree iron? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto quad, and now I've put in a shaft on these which is an A-flex shaft. So I've got a 62 gram A-flex shaft in the Big Bertha, and I have a 60 gram A-flex shaft into the CTI. Now these are as close as I could get them. The fitting kits don't mix and match, so I have to go with what the suppliers give me. So these two are the same. I'm going to swing these. There's no point in me testing these at my swing because I'm above average when it comes to swing speed. 7 iron is about 95 mile an hour. There's no point because most of the people who are swinging at that kind of speed aren't going to be looking at these irons. So I'm going to try and swing these at the average golfer's average swing, which is about 75 miles an hour. Now, I'm going to do it on quad, and I'm going to hit a series of shots with each, and if they fall below that 75 by X amount or go above it, then I'm going to discount them because there's no point in doing it. I'm trying to get as close to 75 mile an hour as I can so I can show a direct comparison between the two. Now I'm going to be looking at launch, I'm going to be looking at ball speed, I'm going to be looking at dispersion, and I'm going to be looking at distance and peak height. I want to see if all the technology in this, which is 5 degrees less than this one, can get the peak height the same, swinging at those kind of speeds. So the only thing to do is to put this to the test. Now I will say this is my test, these are my numbers, and this is as honest as I will be with it. I'm not saying this will work for everybody and that something for you, tech might beat loft or loft might beat tech. I am just putting these head to head with my numbers, so please take that into account. These irons will work for very different people, and what might work for one might not work for another. So don't think that one wouldn't work if the other one's better, if that makes sense. But let's get quad on, let's hit some shots. So we're going to start with the Big Bertha. I'm using exactly the same balls, which will be Strixon Q-Star Tours for this test. Obviously, different balls will react differently, so you do have to take that into account when you're doing your test. Now this is a massive iron, I've not hit this yet. It is just the epitome of chunk, basically. So I'm trying to aim for 75 miles an hour, and then any that are too far away from that I'm going to discount. I'm going to try and get 6 of them if I can. So that was 80. Get as many as I can at 75 miles an hour, or as an average of 75 anyway, and then we'll see what the numbers say. Right, so that's I've hit 6 shots with that. Took 8 shots, but I've hit 6 for the comparison. Now I'm going to do the CTI iron and do exactly the same. Right, so I've hit 6 shots with each iron, and I've tried to get the club speed as close as possible to each other, so there's like no discrepancies. So let's go and have a look at the numbers. Right, so if we look at these numbers then, the Big Bertha is the red one, and then the Orca CTI is the bottom one. So just looking at the ball data first. So ball speed with the Big Bertha, 3 miles an hour more. With the Orca, like 99 miles an hour, which is fine. Launch angle there's 2.5 degrees difference, which is what you'd expect because there's a stronger loft. There's what, 5 degrees stronger loft, so that's what to be expected. But look at this, the spin with the Big Bertha is down at 3.2, which is like, it's not ideal, let's be honest. Whereas with the Orca CTI, we're up at 4.369, so the spin is up, that loft is aiding the spin, but the technology isn't aiding the spin. And then average carry, 135 and 140. So there's a 5-yard difference between them for that 5 degrees of loft. But if we look here at this peak height here, look how much higher the Orca is compared to the Big Bertha. So it's coming down at a better angle, whereas the Big Bertha is just sort of punching its way to that end target, whereas the Orca is actually sort of landing at a better angle. So if we look at that at the table, the average club speed with the Big Bertha was 75.3, was 75.7 with the Orca, so it was as close as I could get them. I did have to take stuff out because I wanted that average to be reflective. And then obviously average efficiency, the Big Bertha is more efficient than the Orca. It's as simple as that. But we now look at the ball data, and then we can sort of see these numbers here. So the launch angle is different. The offline was so much tighter with the Orca compared to the Big Bertha. That offset and everything just made me pull it left. Look at the peak height, 16 yards with the Big Bertha, 19 yards with the Orca CTI, and then the descent angle as well. There's 6 degrees better descent angle with the Orca than there is with the Big Bertha. So the Big Bertha is coming in lower, it's got no spin, and it's going to be difficult to stop on the green, whereas coming in with a bit higher spin and a better descent angle, yes, you're 5 yards shorter, I get that, but you're going to stop it on a green, whereas this is just sort of like punching its way into the air. The Orca is actually sort of landing at a better descent angle. Like as a dispersion, you know, there's not a lot in it. There's a bit more left to right with the Big Bertha, there's a bit more front to back. With the Orca, you know, it's difficult for me to swing at these slower swing speeds and be consistent because I'm not used to doing it. But what this shows is there's the technology that's in the Big Bertha, all that tungsten weighting and the deep weighting and the face and the spheres, it's given me better ball speed, but it's also more loftier, so it's going to give me better ball speed. But what it's not doing in this test, and now I must emphasize that, is this test is it's not aiding launch for me. It's not getting the ball up in the air, it's not adding spin so it can have a softer landing. What's doing that is loft. Loft is doing that, not technology. So that's the numbers on this test. Now each club is different. It's as simple as that. If you want lower ball flights, you want a little bit more distance, you want more roll, you're not interested in stopping on greens, and the Big Bertha is the club. If you want a little bit more peak height, you want a bit of extra spin and you want to be able to stop it on the greens, then the CTI is the right club. Arguably, you know, if I put the 8 iron in this against this, the numbers may be similar, but I'm taking these on the 7 number, purely on the number on the bottom, not on loft. I'm putting 2 7 irons together. I completely appreciate that I could get this in a set from 6 to gap wedge and the lofts would be similar, and to this if I had an 8 iron against this. I get all that. This is purely a 7 iron test to see what wins, tech or loft. And on this test, if I was choosing at that swing speed, I would choose loft over tech, because I'd want to be able to stop the ball on the green and have that better spin and better control, which I think loft will give you. It's each person's personal preference is entirely theirs, which one they would prefer to use. This is purely just a tech versus loft test. But I hope you've enjoyed that little comparison that I've done there. Like I've said, it was just something to appease me to see which is better, loft versus tech. I didn't bother doing it at my speed because I've got the speed to get them both in the air, so it wouldn't have been a comparable test, I don't feel, which is why I put A-flex shafts in and try to bring it down to the average. If you are liking what you're seeing on this channel, then please do consider hitting that subscribe button. If you are returning and continuing to watch, just drop a subscribe, and then that way you will be notified if I put out a new video. Please comment down below, let me know what you think of this test, good or bad. You know, do you think I did it correctly? All I can do is just hit those shots and show you the numbers. You know what I mean? That's all I can do. And please give this video a like. So stay tuned, lots more to come from the channel, lots more comparisons, lots more reviews, and hopefully soon we can get out on the course and do some on-course testing. But until then, I'll see you next time.